part of the Harry Potter fandom, so we want to know if you are part of the Harry Potter fandom and which houses you belong.
Yes, definitely. I've been reading Harry Potter since my mom got the books from my little brother and I stole them. And I think if I had been sorted as a child, I would have been Ravenclaw, but as an adult, I am Slytherin.
Very good, I am a Slytherin too.
And what about you, Sara?
Yeah, I am of the age where I grew up with Harry Potter and went to the midnight parties, read the series like 17 times, the whole thing. And I think that I am a Ravenclaw still, and always. What about you guys?
Okay.
She is Ravenclaw.
I am Ravenclaw.
I am a Slytherin. Perfect.
Yes.
We have we have different houses, but there are a lot of Slytherins in Harry Latino, so that's like, oh my god. But they are so fun to work with. Both of you have been spending some time here in Buenos Aires touring. So I am wondering if you are enjoying your time here and if Leo is being a very good tour guide.
Leo is being the best tour guide.
Yes, Leo is feeding us so much good stuff. You have amazing food here. But it's been fun. We've been able to see quite a bit of the city and the different neighborhoods, walk along the river at night and see the Women's Bridge and
La Recoleta, La Boca.
Yes.
Yes, it's beautiful here. We love it.
yeah.
Okay, so far, what have you liked the most of this tour in South America? And have you visited other countries of South America before?
Definitely meeting the readers has been my favorite part. It's incredible to get to meet readers that we never would otherwise. And it's so fun because even though we don't necessarily speak the same language, we all enjoy the same stories and we can connect that way. So we were also in Lima, Peru, but I've only been to Lima, Peru and Buenos Aires.
Yes, definitely my favorite part has been meeting the readers. It's always so special, and I love young adult readers because they're so enthusiastic and excited to talk to authors and talk to other readers about the stories they love. And there's something really extra special about meeting readers who speak a different language. Like Kiersten said, I don't speak any Spanish, but it's amazing that a story that started out in my head got turned into this, and now I can connect with somebody from the other side of the world about it when I never would have been able to communicate otherwise. So that's been really, really special. And was there a part 2 of the question? I forgot.
If you have been in another part of South America before,
apart
from Lima?
So this is my first time in South America, Lima and Buenos Aires. I got to go to Guadalajara last year, which was really, really fun. And then I have also gotten the chance to go to the Netherlands and to London for book stuff.
I wanted to know how is your relationship with your readers? I know that especially us Argentinians, we are across a lot, so how do you feel about us? That's
Everyone has been so lovely. Yeah, and so excited. You know, whenever we go to an event, we're just crossing our fingers that someone shows up.
Please don't be an empty room.
Yeah. So we're very happy to meet with people who are excited to see us. Yeah, it's been great. We love you guys.
Yeah, it's the level of enthusiasm is just incredible, and it means a lot to us too to get this opportunity to come and meet you because it's a very special thing for us. Not a lot of authors get to do it, so it feels really, really special for us.
Okay, Kiersten, you have written quite a lot of different tales, but you seem to like to read about legendary monsters and Frankenstein and also vampire slayers. So I was wondering if there are going to be another Fantastic Beasts book, maybe?
Yeah, Probably. I'm never quite sure what I'm doing next. I do like to write a lot of very different things.
Okay.
Because it keeps me entertained.
Of course.
But I do like exploring the concept of monsters. Who are our monsters? Why are they monsters? What do we see in them that's monstrous? Because I think what we decide is monstrous says more about ourselves than about the monsters. And so that's something I explore in Slayer with the concept of, is a demon bad just because they're a demon, or are there shades of gray there? Is a person good just because they're a person? And so those are definitely themes that I really like, and monsters are a really fun way of exploring those ideas.
Well, you wrote a retelling of Frankenstein, and you have Buffy's spin-off. So, a long time ago, Harry Latino had a sister website where you could write fan fictions about Harry Potter, like fanfiction.net. So I'm wondering, what's the difference between writing a retelling or a spin-off than writing a fanfic, and if you ever have written a fanfic?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's a very complicated question. Part of the difference, at least with La Última, Cazadora, is it's official. They hired me to write this. It's officially licensed. Everything was approved by the company that owns Buffy. And I think part of what fan fiction does is it allows you to delve deeper into characters or ideas, and you don't necessarily have to have a tight story or even a plot. Some of the best fan fictions are just, let's see them be happy for 400 pages. Like, that would be awesome. And so for me, it's not about wanting personally to spend more time in the world, but it's about wanting to create new content for that world. It's a fine line, though. I don't think there is a really clear distinction. When it comes to retellings, I think the most important thing, like with The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein, is there has to be a reason why you're telling that story. And for me, that reason was reclaiming the female characters in Frankenstein, who were not well developed in the original, and having a conversation with the original novel. And so I wanted to explore not what makes a monster, but who makes a monster, who supports somebody doing monstrous things, who looks the other way when people in worse circumstances are being victimized, are being hurt. Because that felt like a very important story for me to tell. And I used the original Frankenstein to tell it because that level of familiarity with the basic story allowed me to build on top of it and to grab readers that I might not have been able to otherwise.
Okay, Kiersten, in my games, the only one who have special powers are women.
Yes.
Not men.
Nope.
Can you explain to us why you made that decision?
Yeah, I feel like so often women, and particularly girls growing up, are told to ignore their feelings. We're told we're too emotional. We're told we're dismissed. Like, oh, you're just PMSing, or oh, you just are overreacting. And I hate that, because our emotions and our feelings and our instincts are powerful, and we should pay attention to that. And I know I've had experiences in my life where I had no reason that you could quantify or explain for knowing something or someone was dangerous, but I knew. And I think that there's a lot of power in giving strength to your emotions. And so I wanted to sort of reclaim that concept and say, no, that's not only good, it's a superpower. And it's one that girls have. So that's kind of why I wanted to do that. But also because, people use girls. People use teenage girls. And so adding that layer of them having this very desirable power made for a more interesting story.
Okay, well, I particularly wanted to thank you because I have a hearing disability, and it's very strange to find a book where one of the main characters has a disability. And in man games, you have Annie, that's one of the main characters, and she has a visual disability, but she also has this superpower. So I wanted to know how did you come with Annie's stories, and why did you choose her disability particularly?
It's based a little bit in the myth of Cassandra, who could see the future and tell people about it, but she was cursed because no one ever believed her or listened to her, and Annie has something very similar. I also just loved that she was so strong and that she could experience the world in a different way. And I felt like a book was an interesting way to explore that because it's all descriptions, and when you take out the visual descriptions, you know, what's left, what's she noticing, what's she experiencing that other people might not. I hope that I did a good job with it. Thank you. It was important to me that, you know, that she be an incredibly strong, intelligent, determined character, because she has had to work harder than most people.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, people tend to think that if you have a disability, you have to protect the people with disability. But Annie has a strong, that is strong by herself, and she tries to show it even to her sister, and tries to protect her. Yes. So that was wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, in my opinion, you have some kind of problems with sisters.
I'm glad you had with sisters.
You have a cerebral. But first of all, are you a twin?
No, but I do have 3 sisters.
Oh my god. And what they think about your books? Because, okay, we have a serious problem with sisters.
Yeah.
Sorry, but
it's true. It's very true. When Mind Games came out, each of my 3 sisters, without talking to the other ones, texted me and said, "I'm kind of scared of you now."
Oh my god.
They said, "We grew up sharing a bathroom. You should have been scared of me a long time ago." I do think it's really interesting to look at how 2 people, or 3, or 4, or 5 in my case, can be raised in the exact same home with the exact same circumstances and grow into such different people. We even remember the same situations differently. Like the events, we'll talk about something and we'll remember it totally differently.
Yes.
And I find that really fascinating. And I also am interested in how we're shaped by our siblings. I have an older sister who's 2 years older than me, and she's very, very, very smart. Very smart. And being her younger sister, I felt very competitive with that. But I also felt like I had to do different things than her.
Yes.
So if she was really good at something, I felt like I couldn't do it because I might not be as good as her. And so a lot of who I am was a reaction to her. And I explored that a lot in Slayer, with Artemis being the strong one, being the capable one, and Nina being the kind one and the peacemaker.
Yes.
What happens when suddenly that's flipped and Nina has the physical abilities? How does that challenge them? How does that change their relationship? And similarly with Mind Games, you know, you've got 2 sisters who are so close, but don't experience the world the same way, don't feel the same way about things. I just love that tension.
Okay.
Wow, and finally I'm very excited about this work because I know that you are working in a new project with the retelling of King Arthur.
Yes.
The Guinevere project. I am a huge fan of the legend of King Arthur, so I wanted to know what are we going to expect in this new book?
Yes, so it is a King Arthur retelling. It's set in Camelot, so it's not like set in the future or in modern day. It's actually in Camelot. My last few books have been very dark, very dark, and so I wanted a book filled with magic and wonder and romance and castles and knights. And so it was really fun to get to sort of create my own Camelot. I did use the original legends, but there are so many versions of them, I felt really free to sort of pick and choose what I wanted to use and what I didn't want to. What's different about this one is, similar to my other books, I looked at the Arthurian legends, and all of the women are either evil or nothing. Guinevere she only exists to fall in love with the wrong person and ruin everything. Like, that's her only role. And I hate that. And so I thought, what if that wasn't her? And then I thought, what if she wasn't even Guinevere? So the concept is that Guinevere comes to Camelot to marry King Arthur, but she's not really Guinevere. She's been sent by Merlin as a magical bodyguard. And so what happens when your marriage is a lie, and yourself is a lie, but you're trying to navigate this new environment while protecting somebody that you barely know, and you don't even really know yourself? Because I feel like so much of growing up is trying to figure out who you are, and so I just made it way more dramatic and added pretty dresses and swords and magic. So I'm really, really excited for readers to get to experience this Camelot.
Me too.
Thank you.
Okay, Sara, first of all, thank you, because I read your 2 books in 2 days. I was amazing because in a moment of this year I was angry with fantasy books because some of them were always the same. And in Everless and Evermore I found another kind of story that I fall in love. So thank you, first of all.
Thank you, that means a lot.
Thank you. And Everless and Evermore are 2 fantasy books full of tale, magic, kingdoms, queens. But here we can't find happy endings or a strong love story. It's more like friendship and the fight of love and hate for centuries and centuries. So how has it grown up in your mind? The idea of writing a fantasy story totally different in comparison to fairy tales.
Yeah, so there's sort of a couple different elements in Everless that serendipitously came together and allowed me to actually finish the manuscript. The time is money concept came while I was sort of struggling with both time and money. The character of Jules came really strongly to me, and I knew that I wanted to write about a really epic relationship between 2 girls because similarly I feel like we get a lot of stories that are either about like a dude and a lady or 2 dudes, you know, maybe they're like lovers or friends or enemies, but like I feel like that epic sort of tragic relationship story has been largely reserved to not between women. And I love YA because I think like with Kiersten's books, with other books, we're starting to open up those doors. But I wanted to explore what a sort of like tragic, epic story would look like between 2 women that loved each other but were forced to, you know, have neither can live while the other survives kind of deal.
Yes. Let's talk about the romance aspect of Everless. In a way, we have the traditional relationship between Jules and another main character that I won't say the name in order to not give spoilers. But on the other hand, we have the relationship between the witch and the alchemist. Can you tell us about this?
Yeah, I mean, I love romance in books. I am a huge sucker for, you know, a slow burn. I love romance novels, fantasy books with romance, hate to love all that stuff. However, I was thinking back, and when I was a teen, even though I had crushes on people and I was interested in romance, my relationships with my friends were so much more important to me. And honestly, just as dramatic. You know, there was tension, there was fight, there was breakups. So I love romance, and I want to write a book someday where romance is sort of the main relationship. But for Everless, especially given the you know, epic story that I wanted to explore, I thought I would include romance, but have it more in a, you know, secondary position.
Okay.
Okay, well, and finally, both of you have a way of storytelling that's quite magical. You transport us, your readers, to magical places, to exciting adventures, so I was wondering what inspires you.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much for those kind words. I really love music. I make playlists for all my stories that have, dramatic, minor key, instrumental, all that stuff, songs, and I sort of listen to them every time I sit down to write to pump myself up for it and get in the right headspace. I love making Pinterest boards with, inspiration for places or characters. And I love to, sometimes if I feel stuck, I'll pick up a book that I love and just read a little bit of it, open it at random and read a few pages to remind myself sort of why I love books and what books can do, and to also, learn from the masters.
I'm inspired by questions. Usually my books have a central question that I'm exploring by writing them. So for Mind Games, it was how far would you go to protect the people that you love? For Slayer, it was what does it mean to be chosen? And I always have that central question for my book so that when I lose focus or when I'm not sure what I'm doing next, I can go back to that question and re-examine how I'm exploring it and how I can better sort of dive into that question.
Okay, thank you very much for the interview. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
We hope you, maybe the next year or another year with new books, you can visit us again.
I hope so too.
Yeah, thank
We
you.
hope Leo take notes.
Thank you guys so much for talking with us.
No,
Thank you.
Thank you.